difficult week for Ed Miliband as Labour is hit with more embarrassing leave. Amid questions over his performance as leader, a draft version has emerged of the speech his brother David would have delivered if he had won the party's top job. Also on the programme, US condemns Syria. The White House has denounced what they call outrageous violence from the Syrian government. Duke's trooping debut. The Duchess of Cambridge watched with pride as her husband took part in a great spectacle of pageantry and pomp in honour of the Queen. Vaccination campaign. 2 million young people die every year from illnesses which could have been prevented. Australia cricket fury. Selectors have been on the receiving end of a furious outburst from a player. And charities marked milestone. 2 remarkable milestones have been reached by 2 remarkable charities. Good evening. Amid questions over Ed Miliband's performance as leader, a draft version has emerged of the speech his brother David would have delivered if he had won the party's top job. The former Foreign Secretary planned to admit that the public finances had not been well managed enough under Labour and warned that the party could not deny the deficit. The text of the address was obtained by The Guardian. It was never delivered to members at the conference last year, but a crestfallen Mr Miliband is said to have recited it to his wife in the car whilst driving home. The elder brother would have announced that the former Chancellor Alistair Darling had agreed to head an all-party commission to the draft rules on public spending and deficits, designed to restore lost trust in Labour fiscal discipline. He was to say that step 1 in recovering public trust over the economy was to recognise that it was obvious that we did not abolish the business cycle. We should never have claimed it. You can't in a market economy, and public spending plans cannot depend on it, nor can you write your own fiscal rules, and then be judge and jury for how they are calculated and when they are met, he planned to say. The draft indicates that Mr Miliband would have backed George Osborne's introduction of the Office of Budgetary Responsibility. Mr Miliband would have told the conference that the deficit was the biggest argument in politics and biggest danger for us. George Osborne says that we are in denial about the deficit because he wants us to be, so let's not be, it is a test. He would have argued that the party will not only be trusted when we show in word and deed that its alternative to mean government is lean government. Mr Miliband stepped away from frontline politics shortly after losing the leadership contest and has been careful to avoid controversial interventions since. However, many MPs still question whether the right brother was selected. The White House has strongly denounced what it is called the Syrian government's outrageous use of violence and voiced support for a European-drafted proposed UN Security Council resolution condemning the crackdown and calling for it to be halted. Eyewitnesses say Syrian helicopter gunships fired machine guns to disperse pro-democracy protests, in the first reported use of air power to quell unrest in the increasingly bloody 3-month uprising. It came on a day of nationwide rallies against President Bashar al-Assad as unrest shows no sign of abating despite the harsh crackdown by his authoritarian state. According to Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, the helicopters opened fire in the northwestern town of Marat al-Numan after the security forces on the ground had killed 5 protesters. People hid in fields, under bridges and in their houses, but the firing continued on the mostly empty streets for hours, said one witness. Syria's state television, in contrast, developed and blamed the violence on anti-government groups. It made no mention of attack helicopters, but said an ambulance helicopter had come under fire from terrorist-armed groups, injuring crew. Britain, France, Germany and Portugal have asked the UN Security Council to condemn Assad. Through Russia has said it would oppose such a move. Denouncing the Syrian government's actions, the White House said Friday's appalling violence had led to the US to back the European draft resolution at the UN. The Syrian government is leading Syria on a dangerous path, the White House said. Still to come on the programme, vaccination campaign. 2 million young people die every year from illnesses which could have been prevented in the first place. And Australia cricket fury. Australia's cricket selectors have been on the receiving end of a furious outburst from one of the players. The Duchess of Cambridge has watched with pride as her husband took part in one of the world's greatest spectacles of pageantry and pomp in honour of the Queen. Tripping the colour is the monarch's official birthday parade, but all eyes were on the new Duke and Duchess playing prominent roles in the event for the first time. Amid the splendour of the military display, William rode faultlessly on his grey charger Wellesley, while Kate took place with other members of the royal family as a spectator. The Duchess reprised her royal wedding carriage procession of less than 6 weeks ago, riding a horse-drawn barouche with Prince Harry, the Duchess of Cornwall and the Duke of York. They were cheered loudly by thousands of well-wishers as they travelled from Buckingham Palace along the Mall and into the Horse Guards Parade. Kate, who was becoming a fast fashion icon, was dressed in an ivory jacket with an elaborate black hat. The Queen arrived with the Duke of Edinburgh, who celebrated his 90th birthday on Friday and was dressed in uniform as Colonel of the Grenadier Guards. A campaign to vaccinate more children worldwide says nearly 2 million young people die every year from illnesses which could have been prevented. There are effective vaccines on the market for common childhood diseases like whooping cough and diarrhea. But a new report from Save the Children says a fifth of all infants worldwide, 24 million of them, get no vaccinations at all. It is thought that 3 children die unnecessarily every minute, and it has led to a drive to immunise 243 million more by 2015. The problem is money. They need £2.3 billion to make it happen. One of the places children are most vulnerable is in Southeast Africa, in Mozambique. In sport, and Australia's cricket selectors have been on the receiving end of a furious outburst from player Simon Kattish. He criticised what they called an inconsistent decisions after he was dropped from the main list of players from the side. The 35-year-old opening test batsman said he would play on for New South Wales, but assumed his omission from the list marked the end of his international career. Kattish had been one of the Australia's best performing batsmen over the last couple of years, and his exclusion has also been criticised by former players. And finally, 2 remarkable milestones have been reached by 2 remarkable charities. The Royal British Legion, which helps support thousands of ex-servicemen and women, turned 90. And their younger counterparts, Help for Heroes, has now raised 100 million for 4 years after their creation. And very well done to those charities for raising those large sums of money to help people. And that is tonight's late news. The national weather is next, but now, from me and the team here, good night. Good evening. It's been a stormy last couple of days. Not going to get any better though. However, at the start of next week it should do. Windy with rain on Sunday, quite heavy in places too. It is something we're keeping our eyes on again. But drier with some showers on Monday, which is a little bit better and something good for us. So on Sunday, like I say, that rain taking over most parts of the country. It will be also very windy too, so please take note of that as well. Temperatures well below what they should be for the time of year, not very good at all. However, some parts of Scotland will dry up during the day as well. On Sunday night, again, it will dry up continually as the band of rain sinks into the south. However, there will still be a couple of showers around in some areas. Temperatures, again, very low, and in some places there will be a touch of grass frost again, as per usual. On Monday, sunshine and showers. The more south you are, you're less likely to see a shower. The more north you are, you will likely to see one or maybe more. They may merge to longer spells of rain too here. Temperatures again warming up in the south, but still around the 12, 13 or 14 mark in the north. And the outlook for London: pretty dry over Tuesday and Wednesday. Rain again on Thursday, I'm afraid. Temperatures pretty warm, but when that rain does set in, please take note that it will feel quite a lot cooler. Winds also picking up slightly during the week. And that is the weather for this weekend. I hope you have a lovely week. Goodbye.